Welcome to this week's Operation American Dream. I'm Daniel Lehman.
I'm Eve Nasby, and we have a great show for you.
Great show coming up, focusing on some employment, focusing on some entrepreneurship and some real estate and some financial literacy. Great show coming up. Stick around. We'll be right back with you.
Welcome to Operation American Dream. I'm Eve Nasby, and I'm honored this morning to have two incredible people from one of my favorite companies because I have a squeaky life, WD-40. Welcome to the show.
G'day, Eve. How are you?
G'day. Oh my goodness. Our viewers are going to love to hear you talk, so I'm going to be quiet for a little bit, which is going to be hard. But we're going to ask you some questions, Gary, because you are the tribal leader of WD-40. You're the president and CEO, and you've been with them for quite some time. So walk us through the progression of how you started with WD-40 and how you got to where you are today.
Well, it's pretty simple. Back in 1987, I joined WD-40 in Australia. We opened a subsidiary there. My dad was an engineer, and when I said to him, you know, I got a chance to go work for WD-40, he said, "You can't go wrong with that stuff, son." So I thought that'd be okay.
Good advice, eh?
And then in 1994, I worked for 7 years from 87 to 94 in Australia, and I was talking to my boss on the phone here in the US one day, and I said, "Do you have anything else you'd like me to do?" And he said, "Would you like to move to the US and head up the international expansion?" I said, "That sounds like a good idea." So I packed up my bags and moved over, and now 30 years later, I get up every morning. I've got the best job in the world. I get up every day to help people create positive, lasting memories, because we're in the memories business. And the most fun I have is finding all the different ways to do that. So it's fun. We don't sell oil, we sell memories.
Yes, you do. And I think we've got a lot of stories of memories that are created by WD-40. So give us, this wasn't scripted, but give us your favorite use for WD-40.
Well, my favorite use yesterday was cleaning stainless steel in our kitchen. I read an article the other day that said that if you do the dishes at home, you will be successful. Well, I do the dishes, but I also clean the fridge.
I love it. Well, you know, the company started here in San Diego. Give us an idea of how this whole WD-40 organization got started.
Sure. Back in the 50s, Convair was here, and of course they were involved in the space program, and they had a problem with condensation and corrosion in the umbilical cord of the Atlas space rocket. So a couple of chemists got together, not too far from where we're sitting right now, and they started to mix up formulas to see if they could solve the problem. The thing that I am most grateful for is they didn't stop at 39 because the 40th formula actually hit the mark.
Wow.
It did what they wanted it to do, and that's why it's called WD-40. It stands for Water Displacement 40th Formula.
All right, there's going to be a quiz for our viewers, so remember that, WD-40, Water Displacement 40th Formula.
40th Formula.
Now, you know, Gary, a lot of companies have started here in San Diego. It's kind of a hotbed for innovation. And they leave for various reasons. What is your commitment to the San Diego community at WD-40?
Oh, we're here to stay. In fact, what we're very excited about, we call ourselves a tribe, not a team, right?
Okay.
And I can tell you a lot about that. But what we're really excited about, just 2 weeks ago, we closed on our brand new facility up in Scripps Ranch, which is actually a military community.
Yes.
I don't know if you know that, and a couple of schools there focus on that. And we're going to be moving to this new 43,000 square foot teepee.
My goodness. Teepee, okay.
And we've been in the current building for 44 years, so I think we're going to hang
44 years, my goodness. And the formula is still made in that building, right?
Correct.
And 7 ingredients, and mum's the word, we can't get the secret sauce.
No.
Right? I know people try.
Yeah, it's locked in a bank vault not far from here. I took it out twice.
Okay.
Once to move it from one bank to the other, and the other was at our 50th birthday. I flew it to New York, and I'm a crazy Aussie, so I got on the back of a horse, dressed in a suit of armour, and I rode into Times Square in this horse. on this horse, and we went and opened the NASDAQ Stock Exchange. The thing that disappointed me the most, though, it was the guy in his underwear playing the guitar that got more attention than this stupid Australian riding a horse.
You need to hold a hat out the next time you do that.
Maybe I'll do that.
Well, I love your commitment to veterans, and you talked about how you will expand and grow into that veteran community. Why is it important for WD-40 to seek out and hire veterans? And Rochelle, we're going to talk to you about this as well, because you're global talent acquisition. But Gary, for you as the tribal leader, from the top down, why is this important to you?
It's simple. There's two things in life you've got to have to be successful: passion and purpose. And veterans are passion-driven and inspired by purpose.
That's right.
And we've got a number of them in the company, and two of them that I know, well, I know all of them personally, but two of them I know personally are fantastic people. One of them is a Purple Heart recipient, Ed Solis. He's based out in the Midwest. He's sales and marketing. Another one is Deborah. Deborah is an ex-helicopter pilot.
Wow.
Now, she keeps asking me to put a helipad in the new building, but she is the sweetest lady you'd ever meet. But I tell you, she is so precise. She's in our quality department.
Yes.
So she brought those skills. Wouldn't you love to have quality of your product in the hands of someone who used to fly helicopters into really dangerous places? I would.
Yes,
that's why we do.
Absolutely. They instill confidence. There's that spirit of teamwork that they bring to the table, and they want to know their job and they want to know it well, so then they become leaders. And obviously, you set a great example for career path within the organization. You started in Australia, you came here, now you're the CEO. So veterans who are looking for work can feel confident that when they join WD-40, they're joining an organization that has purpose and that will give them a purpose. Excellent.
And my motto is, I'm not here to mark your paper, I'm here to help you get an A. So when we wake up every day, our job as a leader is to help people step into the new version of their best possible self every day. That's why we invest so much in training and development. We have a number of programs. I teach up at USD. I teach in the Master of Science and Executive Leadership program there. We've got and actually Ed Solis, we met him there. He was I taught him in a class there, and that's how we met him, and he ended up, as he was leaving the military, and he ended up coming and work for us.
I'm Eve Nasby with Operation American Dream. Don't go away. We're going to be right back with more of WD-40. Welcome back to Operation American Dream. I'm Eve Nasby, and as promised, we still have in studio our good friends from WD-40, President and CEO Gary Ridge, and Global Talent Acquisition Manager Rochelle Snook. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, you kept alluding, Gary, to this tribal mentality within WD-40. Can you tell us what that's all about?
Yeah, one of the biggest desires we have as human beings is to belong to something. We belong to families, and we belong to groups and organizations. And people in companies forget that if we can create a atmosphere where you belong, then people will want to stay. And it's all about care and candor and accountability and responsibility. So we call ourselves a tribe. And tribes are there to protect each other and to help each other grow. So when you come to WD-40, you're a tribe member because we care about you. And it's a very strong way of showing people, not with just words, but with actions, that we really do care about them.
And I think that parlays so well into the veteran community, because the veterans come from this tribal mentality where you take care of one another, you have each other's back, and you carry one another when they can't take another step. And I think it's the exact same type of environment. So what a wonderfully ideal situation for veterans. And so Rochelle, you've been awfully quiet.
That's a change.
Oh.
It's true. It's true.
All right, but also from Australia. So welcome to the show. How long
Thanks,
have you
Eve.
been with WD-40?
I've been with WD-40 on and off since 2006. So I took a brief hiatus and came back, like many people do, as a boomerang effect, as we call it.
Yes.
And I've been with them now in a full-time position for about 4 years.
Excellent. And you are also 18 years military spouse.
I am, yes. My Navy husband's going to be retiring June of next year.
Wow.
It's been an incredible journey.
Yes. And so you are probably instrumental in the statistic, but ironically enough, the number of veteran hires last year at WD-40 was 40%.
Right, it was.
That's tremendous.
Yes. We're a small company. We have about 130 employees here in San Diego alone. So we don't have huge volumes of hiring. That's somewhat attributed to our really low turnover and our high tenure, which is about just over 10 years on average.
Wow.
Which I think is a testament to the tribe and the leadership and our growth. So we're growing constantly. In a really steady and purposeful pace. It's great.
And that growth is your fault.
Yeah.
As the tribal leader. Yeah.
No, it's not. I'm consciously incompetent.
I like
It's
that.
the tribe that do it. I get to surround myself with brilliance.
And you know, you're focused on hiring brilliant people. So why for you, Rochelle, why is it important for you to hire veterans?
I think when we think about veterans, they move from job to job, country to country every 2, 3, 4 years. And they find themselves in unusual situations, whether it's an aircraft carrier, a small boat, a desert, combat situation, different countries, working with a really diverse population of service members. And I think that diversity and their ability to be flexible and agile in those situations are things that as leaders we're looking for today, because our landscape in corporate America and small business is changing at a really rapid pace. And our service members can do that. They can keep up. They bring those skills.
So what do you guys do at WD-40 to help them transition into the civilian workplace?
At WD-40, we have what we call a tribal tour guide, and we provide that opportunity for all of our new tribe members, whereby we pair them up with another employee to typically outside of their department at a peer group level that helps them orientate into the company and help ease that transition. Everything from how do I prepare for my performance review to what do I wear to that sales meeting, and can you help me meet some new people? But with our veterans, we kind of double down those efforts, and we have other service members in the tribe that we pair them up with as well, so they can bridge that communication gap and explain, well, this is military life, and here's how it translates to WD-40 and the tribe.
Right. That obviously lends to the fact that you guys have a very low turnover, right? People feel like there's a purpose there, that they belong there. And again, to the tribe, everybody's taking care of one another and you're helping each other along.
Right.
What are some of the biggest challenges that you think veterans face today in finding a job in the civilian workplace?
I think some of the challenges may be attributed to business owners, hiring managers, and recruiters, that it's difficult to translate that military experience to our civilian roles. They're not sure what the company's like, what the culture's like, and how their skill set can fit. So typically you'll look at a resume, a military resume, and go, I don't know what this is. I don't know what these acronyms are. I don't know what these job titles are. And they pass over. So I think I would encourage hiring managers, business owners to just have a conversation with our veterans. They're more than willing to share, and that learning on both sides of the table is definitely helpful.
Well, obviously WD-40 is the place to work if you're a veteran. We're going to have your website, WD-40.com, on the bottom of our screen. How do they get a hold of you if they're looking for a job?
Through the website and our careers page, there's a lot of information about our values, which is something we're very passionate about. The jobs are outlined on the website, and myself and others will review them daily.
Excellent. Rochelle Snook, Gary Ridge, WD-40, thank you so much for being a part of our show this morning, and thank you for all that you're doing for our veterans.
Thanks them.
Yeah, thanks to the veterans.
Stay tuned to Operation American Dream. We'll be right back.
All right, welcome back to Operation American Dream. In the entrepreneur segment tonight, we've got Brad Huschauer with Man Mug. How are you, man?
Good. Great to be here, man.
So you are, I messed up earlier and called you a former Marine, even though I call myself a former Marine.
Yeah,
I guess
I do the same thing.
You're a
but-
Marine Corps veteran.
Right.
You're a Marine Corps veteran, so we'll go with that.
you
So
go.
you're a Marine Corps
Perfect.
veteran. Tell me about your Marine Corps service.
I went in out of high school, did 4 years, 0341. I was with 3rd LAR out in 29 Palms. Alpha Company, Weapons Platoon, 81 Mortar.
So when did you transition out?
Ooh, I got out in 1997, so it's been a while.
So, and then what was your transition like? How do you make the transition from the grunt world to the civilian world?
So I got out, moved to Los Angeles, went to sound engineering school, started working in music studios, did that for about 7 years. Started getting into video production. That brought me to San Diego, where I've got a day job doing video production. But I've always wanted to do something entrepreneurial. I've always had that bug. It took me a long road to get there, but about 2 years ago, I dove headfirst and started a company.
So tell me about Man Mug. So where did the idea come from? Because you're the founder. You've got 3 other partners.
Correct.
Who are also military and/or veterans.
Correct.
But tell me about the idea for Man Mug.
So I stumbled across a website that was building websites and monetizing them. At first, I thought it was fake because these guys were making like 100 grand a month. The more I looked into it, the more it was legit. So I tried to figure out how to do that. So I started listening to podcasts every day to and from my day job. Started building websites, monetizing them. Came across a podcast talking about selling white label products on Amazon. I'm like, that sounds great. I've always wanted to do a physical product, didn't know how to get into it. So I took all the advice from this podcast. I started researching Amazon and products that were selling. Finally stumbled upon this little mug here. As a beer drinker myself, I fell in love instantly. And
Well, it's a cool looking mug.
Yeah.
I mean, is this the original design? I know you're working on some new designs. You're working on some new stuff that we'll talk about. But
the original was a mirror finish, more of a mirrored finish. This is a brushed metal. We keep trying to improve the mug. We're now offering personalization with laser engraving. It's great for gifts, groomsmen gifts, retirement gifts. We're doing very well in that space. But I've always had this passion to try and get the mug made here in America.
so it's made now in China, but you guys
Correct.
have a big push.
So the last 18 months, we've been looking for a U.S. manufacturer. Didn't realize how hard that was going to be. But I've knocked on enough doors where I found that perfect partner. So come December, we will be the first company to manufacture stainless steel drinkware in the United States.
That's awesome. And so tell me about, so in order to make that happen, that's not going to happen automatically, right? There's some stuff that goes
Correct.
behind.
There's a fairly large investment up front for us. We've got to create the mold. We've got to buy the certified U.S. steel. We've got to hire a workforce. So we have decided to do the crowdfunding route. We launched a Kickstarter campaign to try and help us with those funds. We've got 19 days left on the campaign, so we're looking for some support.
Yeah. So and you know, the misconception is that it's a lot cheaper to produce overseas.
Correct.
There can really be a big win-win for businesses that want to produce here.
Absolutely. I think the hardest part is just finding that perfect U.S. partner. I think there's large companies that you have to be a certain size before they'll even talk to you. And then there's the smaller guys who aren't really necessarily ready to take that risk with you. So, but we found the perfect U.S. partner. He's taken as much risk as we are, so that was able for us to get the price down. So we're going to be very competitive with those Chinese prices.
Yeah, and you were talking about, when we were talking earlier, there's actually a lot of things that go into using an overseas manufacturer that can be really problematic, and this will solve a lot of those problems.
Absolutely. It was a huge learning curve for me jumping into the imports. I had no idea what I was doing. It took us 4 months to get a new shipment from China. It would take the factory a couple months to do it, a month to get over here by boat, and another month in customs. And for us, we weren't able to buy 200,000 mugs up front. So it just wasn't...
Supply chain was...
Supply chain problems, and the business wasn't scalable at that level. Also, when we started engraving the mugs, we found that 40% of our inventory had dents, the handle weld was wrong. So we started setting those mugs aside. So now we have a whole corner in the warehouse full of mugs that we can't sell.
So, yeah, so what would you give, what advice would you give to military guys getting out who are looking into the entrepreneurial route?
I think being a veteran in the military just prepares you to be an entrepreneur. It gives you the discipline to just get the job done no matter what. It gives you the perseverance. And I think it's a great transition just being your own boss. You have great leadership skills coming out of the military, and all of those skills are tailored for being an entrepreneur.
Well, that's awesome. Well, thanks for coming in, man. It's a great product. It's a great story, and we wish you the best. It's manmug.com and the Kickstarter campaign. I assume you can find there.
Get there from our website, absolutely.
So get out there, support ManMug, support U.S. manufactured goods, and we'll be right back with more Operation American Dream. All right, welcome back to Operation American Dream. As you know, in San Diego, we've got about 250,000 veterans. We've got about 100,000 active duty. And obviously, one of the things that are most near and dear to my heart is the concept around if you've served your country, you deserve to own a piece of it. And I'm very excited to have the CEO of Affinity Partnerships, John Alexander, in the studio with me. Welcome.
Fantastic. We're glad to be here.
So, John, you are the CEO of Affinity Partnerships, and one of the products or one of the programs that you guys run is called VA Lone Ranger, and it's very much around kind of what I just mentioned. It's making people that deserve to own homes and facilitating the ownership of those homes. So walk me through VA Lone Ranger.
Great. Let me tell you a little bit about what Affinity Partnerships is.
Sure.
And then I'll give you a little bit of history on why VA Lone Ranger is so near and dear to my heart and why we created it.
Great.
Affinity Partnerships is a private organization that works with corporations and institutions across the country to look at their stakeholders, their customer base, and provide them with mortgage services and other financial services, whether it be very competitive auto loans, very competitive mortgages, student loans, or whatever. That's what Affinity Partnership does. Right? We do that for the sake of helping a brand create better strength or net value in their customer base than they would otherwise.
And you guys, just as a core, we were talking before the show, before we started taping, you guys have a very strong stance on customer service, on making sure that you are providing and representing the best interests of the consumer well. That's one of your platforms that is just...
The reason major corporations and businesses work with Affinity Partnerships is because protecting the consumer is what we're about, right? Giving them the option to choose the best of the best is what we're all about.
And also giving them a platform when it's not the best to give you feedback on what happened.
Absolutely. We have staff on hand. We have a web platform on hand. So if there's something going on with any of the financial services that you're being offered from one of our select lenders, you can get a hold of us immediately, and we're there to support you, or many times just to educate you. Because let's face it, a mortgage, it's not the most simple transaction you're ever going to do in your life, and it's probably the acquisition of one of the largest assets you'll ever have. So there's stress associated with it, and you don't do them every day. People don't do them every day, so therefore there's stress going on. And we're the sort of that third independent individual that is involved in the industry, who knows what's going on, and can help you keep things in perspective and help expedite the process when it needs to be expedited.
Well, and a lot of people look at the risk of buying a home, but they don't look at the risk of not buying a home. A military guy getting into town here in San Diego, 3 years, $2,500 in rent for 3 years is $90,000 guaranteed gone. Whereas they look at the risk of buying as opposed to the risk of not buying. So VA Lone Ranger really specifically kind of deals with the veteran population, the military population. So tell me about VA Lone Ranger and how it came about.
Great. VA Lone Ranger is something that's truly near and dear to my heart, right? I have many family members who have served. And the thing that I want people to really understand, the VA benefits that are there are earned benefits. If I was working for Exxon, Dow, somebody on Wall Street, I have a benefit package, right? The VA loan programs that are out there is part of your benefit package. It's something that you've earned, right? It's not a gimme or handout. It's something that you put forth the energy and effort, and you're entitled to, right? So what's happened though is that many times a young serviceman or woman comes home and they get sucked in by all this barrage of noise and information, and it gets very confusing. And many times they could be led led astray.
Happens a lot of times, right?
Right, and become prey.
Sure.
So a friend of mine, Walt Jones, a retired colonel, called me up one day and says, look, you build all these phenomenal consumer-centric programs for consumers that work for Costco or for this organization or for the unions or whatever. Hey, you need to step up and do something for our veterans. And so out of that came VA Lone Ranger. VA Lone Rangers is a select platform, and it's actually, if you ever want to find it, just go to VALoneRanger.com. And that's a platform with specific lenders, right, that are dedicated to providing quality service and to protect veterans, right?
And again, one of those concepts is right now, I mean, we run into it all the time. A consumer gets bad advice from some of the other platforms. You got the USAAs and the Navy Feds and the buying programs and stuff, and it's really all about making the money on the lead as opposed to really the consumer. So there's a real big differentiation there.
Huge difference, right? We're, as I said, we're a consumer advocacy group. We're there to have your back. Veterans have had our backs, and they continue to serve. Even when they're not in the military active duty, they continue to provide value and service to each one of us. That's what we're about, right? Many of our lenders that are on the platform actually have veteran employees who understand the challenges of going through a deployment, coming home, having a partner or a spouse out there trying to find a house and going through that challenge, right? So you got somebody who's empathetic, but they also understand the benefits and what you can get out of it.
Well, there's one thing is to understand the VA loan.
Right.
And anybody can kind of study and understand the VA loan, right?
Right.
But understanding the veteran is key. There are certain things that the veteran needs. So there's certain things related to the education and so that speaks to some of the partners and the vetting process that you go through as you.
Yeah, absolutely. Because remember, it's about service, right? When a individual is supporting somebody in the loan process, they need to understand and have a relationship with the person they're working with. And what better person to work with than maybe another veteran or somebody whose entire career is focused on helping veterans?
Well, I can tell you as a veteran that there's as you mentioned, there's just a big mess, a spaghetti bowl of just people things getting thrown around and everything else. So I really, really appreciate you guys being out there and really vetting the companies and then providing, really importantly, a feedback mechanism should it not go the way you intend. I think it's amazing what you guys are doing. If you're interested in utilizing your VA home loan benefit, which you should be, again, look at the risk of not buying. VALoneRanger.com will run it along the bottom. John, thanks so much for coming on. I really, really appreciate it, and thanks for what you're doing.
And thank you, and we appreciate your service. Thank you very much.
We'll be right back with more Operation American Dream. Stick around.
Hey, thanks for tuning in this week. We had some great guests. If you want to check out more on Operation American Dream, go to operationamericandream.tv. And until next week, stay awesome, San Diego.